I started working with Applewood's trainer, Misty Morgan, shortly after moving there. I was so excited to get back into riding and taking lessons with Bunny. First, we just sort of had to deal with some attitude issues that Bunny had. I don't think she was exactly 100% thrilled to be back in a program again. Then we started jumping again and making some progress. But progress was really slow and my anxiety was really high. My trainer would set up a little crossrail for me to jump, and even that would make me so nervous. I was doing a lot of single little crossrails, the occasional small vertical, and a lot of trotting in and cantering out instead of just cantering to jumps, and so forth. Bunny would take really long distances and had this lurching jump that would often unseat me, and the whole thing was kind of a mess. I was getting so frustrated, and I'd leave a lesson feeling worse and worse. One day, I read an article on horsechannel.com called The Power of the Confidence Ride. The article suggested, quote, "What you need, my friend, is a confidence ride. Once in a while, it's fine, nay, necessary, to plan a lesson on an honest, reasonably dependable gentleman of a horse to get your groove back." End quote. So I talked to my trainer and asked if there was anywhere that I could go to take lessons on a lesson horse with her. Applewood is a private barn, so there aren't any lesson horses, just boarders. But Misty trains at several barns in the area, so I was hoping maybe one of them would have an appropriate lesson horse. I didn't want to go to a lesson barn with a different trainer, just because I'd already been working with Misty and she was very understanding and patient about my anxieties and my confidence issues. In December of 2015, I had my first lesson on Merlin. Merlin belongs to one of the other girls that works with my trainer, and he's sometimes used in therapeutic riding lessons with disabled kids. So he's a very steady horse, very reliable, and also very much a push ride, so I didn't have to be scared of feeling like he was taking off with me. I had one lesson on Merlin, and it went so well, so we decided to continue. I would have one lesson per week on Bunny, and one lesson per week on Merlin. Finally, I was able to jump some verticals that were a little higher, and jump more than one at a time. As we started approaching spring, Misty made a comment about how maybe I'd be able to show Merlin. I hadn't even thought about showing. It'd been about 17 years since I'd been to a horse show. But everything got figured out, and I entered my first show on Merlin in April 2016. It was just a local show, the first show of the year for the Arkansas Hunter Jumper Association. I was showing in the beginner rider division, which is the 18-inch division. I was so nervous. My jumping rounds were kind of, not that great, and I didn't place in any of them. But I won a 6th and a 7th place in the flat classes and was over the moon. My only goals for the day were to remember my courses, to not fall off, and to have fun, all of which I accomplished. I continued showing Merlin at the rest of the Aja shows that year, and we did better and better at each one. At the second show, I won 2 firsts in the equitation over fences and equitation on the flat classes, as well as a 4th, 5th, and an 8th, and together that earned us reserve champion. At the third show, I fell off in my first over fences class, but still did well enough in the others that we still won reserve champion again. At the fourth show, I fell off while warming up, but stayed on in all of my classes and won my first division championship. We won division champion at the 5th and 6th shows as well. Winning ribbons aside, my confidence was soaring. Jumping was finally fun, and I didn't want to give it up again, ever. Meanwhile, Bunny had come down with EPM during the summer. She'd lost a lot of weight, had asymmetrical muscle atrophy, and her coordination was poor. At that point, I wasn't sure if I'd ever be able to ride her again, or if she'd even survive. We did 2 months' worth of a medicine called Marquis, and thankfully she started showing improvement. During the first month, I hand-walked her a lot to keep her activity level up, but by the second month, my vet cleared her for some light riding again. She could trot under saddle by month 3, and we started doing a bit of cantering by that fall. I was grateful for any progress, but decided that it was time to give up on jumping her again, because I didn't want to risk her getting hurt. As much as I loved riding and showing Merlin, I knew that I wouldn't be able to forever. He wasn't my horse, and nothing was promised after the 2016 show year. It seemed like getting back into jumping might have all been for nothing. My sweet husband knew about all of this, and he made up his mind for me. "Then we'll find you another horse," he said, matter-of-factly. I guess Misty had been sort of thinking the same thing, because she actually approached me about a horse she'd found for sale. I tried William for the first time in early September 2016 and fell in love with him instantly. We moved him to Applewood at the end of September for a 2-month lease-to-own trial. My riding life seemed to be going exactly how I wanted it to go. Bunny was getting better, I was doing fabulous on Merlin, and I was about to buy a dreamboat of a second horse that I'd be able to show with the following year. At the end of October, though, William gave us a scare. He had some sort of respiratory attack out of the blue. We had a couple of vets work on him and scope him to try to figure out what was going on, and he got better, but no one was really sure what had even happened. The last Aja show of the year was on November 4th. As I was getting Merlin ready, my trainer pulled me aside. William's had another episode, she told me. The lady I was buying him from was on her way to Applewood to pick him up and get him back to the vets, since we were all at the show. I did my best to hold back my tears and continue with the day. Merlin and I finished out the year with another championship, but it was bittersweet. November 4th, 2016 was the last day I rode Merlin, and the last day I saw William. I had to make a decision about buying William or not, now that this health issue had surfaced. Ultimately, I made the decision not to buy him, and on December 1st, the day that he would have officially been mine, he passed away. I didn't ride much at all in November or December. I just didn't have the heart to. In January 2017, my trainer had a new idea. "Why don't you try riding Prada?" Misty suggested. Prada was a horse that had been at my barn since before I moved Bunny there. Her owner had bought another horse, and Prada had been up for sale for a little while. I said, "Sure, why not?" And the rest is history.